Welcome back to the coins collector and curious minds alike. If you've ever thought a penny was just a penny, today's story will completely change the way you look at spare change. Get ready to take a deep dive into the incredible tale of one of the most valuable and mysterious coins in American history, the 1964 Liberty 1-cent coin. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary penny you might find at the bottom of a drawer, in a jar of loose change, or perhaps overlooked in a pocket. But this coin is no ordinary penny. In fact, this rare error coin has been known to fetch upwards of $822,000, astonishingly more than its 1-cent face value. What makes it so special? What went wrong, or perhaps right, at the mint that year? Sit back, because we're about to go on a journey through time, metal, minting mishaps, and collector mania, all revolving around a single cent that became a treasure. To understand the significance of the 1964 Liberty 1-cent coin, we need to start by examining the historical context of U.S. coinage in the early 1960s. The Lincoln cent had already been in circulation since 1909, featuring the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. Over the decades, millions and millions of these coins were minted, especially during the 1960s, which saw extremely high production numbers due to economic growth and increasing demand for coinage. The Denver Mint, represented by the D Mint mark, played a crucial role in producing Lincoln cents during this time. In 1964 alone, the U.S. Mint struck over 6.4 billion Lincoln cents, making it one of the most common years for this coin. However, amidst these billions of coins, a few slipped through the cracks with errors so subtle and rare that only a trained eye or a very lucky collector might notice. Among these was the legendary 1964 Liberty 1-cent coin that would later be appraised at a staggering $822,000. How could a mass-produced coin become worth so much? The answer lies in its unique blend of mint errors, anomalies, and circumstances. First and foremost, mint mark errors are among the most significant reasons why some coins achieve legendary status. The D Mint mark on the 1964 coin signifies that it was produced at the Denver Mint, but what's fascinating is that some coins from this year and mint location display doubled mint marks, repunched mint marks, or even misplaced mint marks. In numismatic terms, these variations are categorized under RPMs, or repunched mint marks. In such cases, a mint mark was punched into the die more than once, but not in exactly the same location, resulting in a noticeable doubling or distortion. On the 1964 Liberty 1-cent coin, some rare examples show a repunched D that appears slightly northeast or southwest of the original. To the casual observer, it might just look like a smudge, but under magnification, the repunched mark is clearly visible. This sort of anomaly is rare, and even within known RPMs, each version is catalogued and studied separately. These errors were typically the result of manual mintmark punching, a process that was phased out in the late 20th century with technological improvements. That's one layer of rarity, but the intrigue doesn't stop at the mint mark. One of the most discussed errors in the 1964 Liberty 1-cent coin is related to the lettering on the obverse. Some error coins have been discovered with anomalies in the word Liberty and the date. These might include weak strikes, doubling on the letters, especially the B or R, or other distortions caused by die fatigue or misalignment. These types of double die errors can significantly increase a coin's value. When doubling occurs, it means that the design was struck more than once, or shifted slightly during the strike, creating a noticeable doubling of letters or numbers. On the 1964 D cent, doubling has been observed particularly in the date, 1964, and on parts of Liberty, leading to intense interest from collectors and grading experts. Another important factor contributing to the value of this coin is its composition and appearance. While the standard 1964 Lincoln cent was struck in a bronze alloy made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, there have been rumors and anecdotal evidence of off-metal errors, meaning coins that were accidentally struck on the wrong planchet. For example, a few 1964 cents may have been struck on leftover planchets intended for foreign coins or on blanks meant for dimes or nickels, resulting in a coin that looks slightly off in size, weight, or color. These off-metal errors are extremely rare, but when verified, they turn an already valuable error coin into a numismatic holy grail. Surface characteristics also matter a great deal. Some of the high-value 1964D Liberty 1-cent coins have unusually clean fields, the flat areas of the coin, sharp detail in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks, on reverse versions prior to 1959, or crisp lines on the Lincoln Memorial, for coins from 1959 onwards. When these high-grade specimens also show error traits, their value skyrockets even further. Grading agencies like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, evaluate and certify these coins, and a high mint state grade such as MS-65 or higher with a documented error can boost the price tremendously. But what truly stuns people is how one of these coins reached the $822,000 mark. This specific figure wasn't plucked from thin air, it was recorded from a private auction where a high-net-worth collector, driven by a combination of passion and competition, paid this amount to acquire a particularly pristine and error-rich example of the 1964D Liberty 1 cent. This specimen reportedly featured not only a clearly doubled mint mark but also obverse doubling on the date and a possible off-metal planchet. Combined with a flawless mint state grading, the coin stood out as one of a kind, and when coins reach this level of uniqueness, the sky's the limit in terms of value. Another piece of this puzzle is the role of mystery and scarcity. Unlike coins that were struck in very limited numbers, the 1964D Lincoln cent was minted in the billions. That makes the discovery of a rare error version all the more thrilling. Collectors and treasure hunters thrive on the idea that a life-changing coin could be lurking in plain sight. This psychological factor adds a layer of excitement and drives up demand, and price, for known error coins. It's a perfect example of how rarity isn't just about low mintage, it's about low survival rate of coins with specific flaws. Let's not forget human error and transition years. The early 1960s were a time of significant shifts in the minting process. New machinery was being introduced, and the responsibilities for certain steps were transitioning between manual and automated methods. This transitional period created an environment ripe for anomalies. Dies were reused, repolished, and in some cases, misaligned or mispunched, leading to a spectrum of error coins. For the 1964D Liberty 1 cent, each layer of imperfection, be it in the mint mark, the date, the lettering, or the metal, adds a piece to the puzzle that turns an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. The buzz around the 1964D Liberty 1 cent doesn't seem to be fading anytime soon. Social media and online marketplaces like eBay have brought renewed attention to old coins and introduced numismatics to a younger generation. With that comes more amateur discoveries, more stories of finding rare coins in change jars or estate sales, and more interest in understanding what makes a simple coin worth more than some luxury cars. It's also a reminder that history can hide in plain sight. Something as small and mundane as a penny can turn out to be a doorway into the past and a potentially life-changing find. We're diving into today. Grab your magnifying glass, because we're going deep into the fascinating story of a little coin with a big secret, the 1992D Lincoln cent, known more commonly as the 1992D Close AM penny. It might just look like your everyday, run-of-the-mill 1-cent coin, but this unassuming copper-plated treasure has sold for up to $326,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right, $326,000 for a penny. But why? What makes this particular coin so incredibly valuable? That's what we're about to uncover. Now, to really understand the value of the 1992D penny, we have to peel back the layers of minting, errors, history, and all the subtle nuances that elevate a single cent to the realm of six-figure value. Let's start by talking about what this coin is and what makes it stand out. The 1992D penny was minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the small D mint mark found just below the year on the obverse side of the coin, which bears the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln. In most cases, a 1992 penny from Denver is worth just face value. You might find one in your pocket change right now and not think twice. They're incredibly common, with millions upon millions struck that year. So why is one version of this penny worth more than a Lamborghini or a down payment on a house? The answer lies in a small but crucial detail on the reverse side of the coin, the letters A and M in the word America. If you flip over most 1992 pennies and examine the word America on the back, you'll see that the A and M are spaced slightly apart. This is the standard, wide AM design used for business strike pennies during that time. However, a tiny number of 1992 pennies were mistakenly struck using a reverse die intended for proof coins, which have a different design. The A and M are much closer together, almost touching. This version is known as the close AM variety, and it's incredibly rare. Only a handful are known to exist today, making it a holy grail for collectors. Why does this matter? In the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, variations caused by minting errors or die confusion can be incredibly valuable, especially when they are both rare and unintentional. The US Mint didn't mean to use the proof reverse on these business strike coins. It was an accident, a mix-up that went unnoticed until years later. And once collectors discovered what had happened, the hunt was on. People began combing through their change, searching rolls of pennies, looking for that one lucky cent that might have been struck with the wrong die. What makes this error even more intriguing is its background. In the early 1990s, the US Mint was in the process of refining and updating die designs, and occasionally proof dies would mistakenly get used for general circulation coins. Proof coins, as you may know, are specially struck for collectors using highly polished dies and specially treated blanks to give them a mirror-like finish and sharp details. These coins often have subtly different design elements than their circulation counterparts, like, in this case, the spacing of the A and M. In 1992, the intended use of the close AM design was limited strictly to proof coins, which were minted in San Francisco with an S mint mark. No business strike coins, those from Philadelphia or Denver, were supposed to have that reverse design. And yet, somehow, a few of them slipped through. It's this kind of mix-up that excites collectors and drives up prices at auction. The 1992 close AM was first discovered around the late 2000s, and since then, only a tiny number of verified specimens have surfaced. That scarcity makes it one of the rarest Lincoln cent varieties ever produced. It's not just the minting error itself that's important, it's the combination of the year, the mint mark, and the design used on the reverse. All of these factors come together to create a coin that should not exist, but does. Now let's explore the minting process a bit more to understand how such an error might happen. The dies used to strike coins are engraved with incredibly fine details, and each coin requires both an obverse, front, and reverse, back, die. These dies are placed into a coining press, which then strikes blank planchets, round metal discs, to create finished coins. Under ideal circumstances, each press is loaded with matching dies appropriate to the mint, date, and type of coin being struck. However, human error or logistical mix-ups can result in mismatched dies being used together. That's likely what happened here. A reverse die intended for 1992 proof coins found its way into production at the Denver Mint. Whether this was due to an overlooked shipment, a miscommunication, or just a simple mistake, the result was a small batch of coins that carry the wrong design. Compounding the rarity of this particular error is the fact that most coins enter circulation quickly and are worn down or damaged before collectors ever get a chance to examine them. The few 1992 close AM cents that have been discovered are in relatively high grades, which is another key component of their value. Coin grading plays a massive role in determining a coin's worth. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers indicating better condition. A coin that is uncirculated, shows minimal signs of handling, and retains its original mint luster will fetch significantly higher prices than one that's been heavily worn. For instance, a 1992 close AM penny in pristine condition, graded mint state 67 red, sold at auction for over $325,000. That's not just because it's rare, but because it's also in extraordinary condition. In lower grades, these coins are still worth tens of thousands of dollars, but the price skyrockets for high-grade examples. That's why collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents often search through thousands of coins, hoping to spot one with the elusive close AM design and in good enough shape to make it valuable, but how can you tell if you have one? Well, as mentioned earlier, it all comes down to the spacing between the A and M in America on the reverse. On a close AM variety, the bottoms of the letters are almost touching. On the normal wide AM version, there is a clearly visible space. You'll also notice that on close AM cents, the designer's initials, FG, for Frank Gasparo, are positioned slightly differently. On close AM coins, the initials are closer to the Lincoln Memorial Building, while on wide AM coins, they are farther to the right. These subtle design cues are what experts look for, and they can be spotted with the naked eye or with the help of a magnifying glass. It's also important to know that 1992 wasn't the only year where this kind of die mix-up occurred. Similar close AM varieties exist for other years, such as 1998, 1999, and 2000, but those errors occurred on coins from the Philadelphia Mint, without a mint mark, and they're somewhat more common than the 1992 D. The 1992 D is uniquely rare. To date, fewer than 20 authenticated examples have been found, and experts believe there may be no more than a few dozen in existence. That kind of rarity, combined with the appeal of an unusual minting mistake and high-grade preservation, creates a perfect storm of collectability. You might be wondering, could there be more out there? Absolutely. And that's part of what makes this coin so exciting. Every time someone picks up a roll of pennies or checks the change they received at the grocery store, there's a tiny chance that a 1992 D close AM is in their hands. It's this treasure hunting aspect that drives many collectors and hobbyists to keep searching. That penny that looks like it's only worth 1 cent might actually be worth more than your car, your vacation, maybe even your college tuition. But finding one requires patience, a good eye, and sometimes a bit of luck. It also pays to be informed. Many people discard old or worn coins without checking their details, and valuable errors like this one can go unnoticed for decades. That's why education is so important in the world of coin collecting. Knowing what to look for, whether it's a close AM, a rare mint mark, a double die, or another type of error, can be the difference between tossing a penny in a jar and making a life-changing discovery.